also against a guy who was on the way up there, who made it to the top, but had some struggles, and now he's on the incline trying to get back up too. So it's two guys trying to get back up. I think it's a great situation. But the biggest thing I gotta say that I love about Errol Spence is that Errol don't want no easy fights.
Boxing is in a better place. So Errol, welcome back, brother. We excited to see you.
I mean, if it's the old Errol should walk through Tim.
The anticipation surrounding fight night has once again brought analysts forward with their predictions, statistics, and strong opinions. And this matchup is no different. Whenever two fighters with completely different styles prepare to face each other, the boxing world immediately starts debating who has the advantage. Months of verbal exchanges and growing tension have only intensified the excitement, transforming this event into something much bigger than the regular fight. It has become a rivalry that both competitors are determined to win at all costs.
I think stylistically, it's the last hurrah for Errol Spence. Get in and watch his last fight.
But you plan, I guess, plan for a retirement plan, would you say?
Of course. If he's already talking about holidays and retirement plans, then this is his last goodbye.
Errol Spence Jr. heads into this contest, carrying all the pressure that comes with making a comeback. The early tendency to dismiss Tim Tszyu has gradually been replaced with a much greater level of respect, showing that Spence now fully understands the difficult challenge waiting for him. Rather than overlooking his opponent, he appears focused on the task ahead and recognizes exactly what this fight demands.
Man, I didn't go back and forth with him. I felt like I wasn't disrespectful to him. It's a fight, and I think I heard something he said about he gonna do me like Pandora did Keith Thurman, and just talk about this, talking a whole bunch of crap, and then he expect me to come shake his hand. And I just wasn't in the mood for that. It's time to fight. We in a tough fight. Say it's gonna be a war, then let it be that.
For Jarrett Hurd, that respect extends far beyond simply recognizing Spence's ability inside the ring. He explains that Spence has never followed a pattern of choosing easier opponents simply to protect or inflate his professional record. Whether he wins or loses, Spence continues accepting the biggest fights available and consistently competes on the stages that truly matter. Those are the events that capture attention and shape the direction of the sport. Hurd believes that willingness to compete against elite opposition instead of taking the safer route is exactly why Spence continues to enjoy such a strong reputation in boxing.
Fight Tim Tszyu, man.
Now that's the one we want to see come back, because one thing I love about Errol, man, shout out to Errol, because no matter what, whenever he come back, he ain't taking nothing easy.
Right.
He said, I don't take no tune-ups, and which is actually smart, because no matter how this fight turn out, he's a headline pay-per-view main event name.
Yeah.
The same thing Cambosa's doing. Even though he came back after the loss with Devin Haney, he'll fight a name after name after name, because it never brings his value down.
The discussion then moves toward the familiar concern that always follows a fighter returning after an extended break from competition: ring rust. Hurd doesn't completely dismiss the possibility, but he views it through Spence's own mindset. If everything accomplished during training camp is translating the way it should, and if repeated work behind closed doors is creating genuine confidence and sharpness, then there's no reason those improvements should disappear once the bright lights come on. His confidence in the final result never changes, and he believes Spence wins this fight without hesitation.
Errol Spence doing, hope he's going to be not too much ring rush, and, he ain't got nothing to prove, man. Go in there and just win the fight. That's what you gotta do. And
it's funny you say that about ring rust. I thought the same thing. Now, he changed my mind a little bit when he said, you know what, if I look good in training and sparring, why wouldn't I look good in the ring? So this ring rust is just a mental thing. So, I can see that, but so you got him winning that one?
I got him winning that one.
Ronnie Shields takes his praise one step further, arguing that this shouldn't simply be viewed as a comeback. According to him, the years away from the ring have not reduced Spence's abilities in any way. If anything, the extended layoff appears to have improved him. Shields points to the discipline Spence maintained throughout his time away from competition, along with punches during training camp that look cleaner, sharper, and more fluid than before. He also believes Spence's defensive movement has become noticeably tighter, reinforcing the idea that he is returning in outstanding condition.
Well, everybody's right who say he's not going to be the same. He's going to be better.
so much better than he ever was. You know, his body is well rested. He feels really good. You know, everything is going great. And as you saw today, you know, his punches are fluid. You know, he's strong. And he's throwing the punches to where I think he should throw them. And, you know, defense is looking good. So everything is going great. And, hey, everybody that's thinking he don't have anything left, just wait.
He explains how he eventually became part of Spence's team, saying he was brought in after Spence searched for the right person to help lead him through this next stage of his career. At the same time, Shields rejects the outside narrative that treated those 3 years away from the ring as wasted time. He refused to accept that idea without seeing the evidence for himself. Instead, he put Spence through a demanding series of tests, insisting on proof that the level he once reached, or perhaps an even higher one, was still there before believing it.
Really nothing, because I realized that if you take care of your body, like he's done for the last 3 years, then, you know, he never stopped working. That's the thing people don't understand. They think he was off for 3 years. No, he wasn't. He kept on working by himself. Never thought he would come back. He said just one day it hit him, I think I'm gonna come back.
Whenever y'all talk, you know, obviously joining forces, anytime you ever told him, like, hey, like, I feel like you don't look 100%, or, you know, you don't look like, I guess, the vintage Earl, you know, I will have to tell you, maybe, you know, this is not the route we need to go. Did you ever have that conversation?
Yes. And the first thing I told him was, the first day, I said, you've been working out, right? He said, yes. I said, okay, I'm gonna put you through some hard workouts. And I said, it's not gonna be easy. I'm on 6 hard rounds. And I determine then if I think we can continue.
When asked what he expects to see against Tim Tszyu, Shields keeps his response measured and disciplined. His message is simple: trust the game plan they have prepared and don't allow the magnitude of the occasion to interfere with the strategy. He points to the balance Spence has maintained throughout training camp, understanding when to push harder and when to step back for recovery. No matter what people outside the gym continue to say, Shields makes it clear that none of that affects their focus. The only standard that matters is whether Spence enters the ring completely prepared and performing at his absolute best.
Look, I just want him to be himself. You know, despite what everybody say or what everybody think, you know, the way we train him, I just want him to stick to the game plan. And whatever happens is going to happen. But right now, I feel really great how everything is going. His defense has really picked up really well. And, you know, evidence of that is inspiring. And, you know, he's just working hard. So, you know, he knows how to rest, and that's the most important thing.
For Roy Jones Jr., this fight represents much more than a comparison of skills. In his view, it is also a reflection of each fighter's character. He describes it as a matchup between two men working to reclaim their place among the sport's elite, making it an intriguing contest from every angle. What impresses him most is Spence's refusal to take the easy road. There are no tune-up fights and no shortcuts. Instead, Spence actively seeks the toughest challenges available, choosing to face an opponent who has remained consistently active throughout the past 3 years, while he himself was away from competition, says everything about his mindset.
Trying to get back up, I think it's a great situation. But the biggest thing I gotta say that I love about Errol Spence is that Earl don't want no easy fights. Earl don't want to fight guys that are nobody.
He AKA somebody. No tune-up.
No,
he don't want no
tune-up. He
tune-up.
wants challenges. You understand me? He wants challenges. And for him to challenge a person like Tim Tszyu, when Tim Tszyu has been regularly fighting for the last 3 years, he's been not doing much. That says a lot about Earl, but that tells you exactly how much fight is still left in Earl. Earl is a guy who's always coming to the party to dance. He don't have time to play no game.
For Tim Tszyu himself, the importance of this fight is impossible to ignore. He understands that both fighters enter the ring with significant questions to answer. Spence is attempting to prove that a lengthy absence has not taken away what made him one of boxing's best, while Tszyu is determined to confirm that his rise to the top has been fully earned. That shared pressure, combined with the contrast between their fighting styles, is what makes this matchup especially fascinating from his perspective.
Yeah, stylistically, what he's got to prove as well. You know, this is the first division coming up. So yeah, there's just a lot on the line for both of us.
When the fight got offered and Errol wasn't going to take a warm-up, and he went straight in after 3 years out, did that surprise you? Was you surprised by that?
To a certain extent. But I know the way the type of fighter he is. He likes to take on, again, hard challenges. But I'm going to give him that regret feeling that, you know, he should have taken a warm-up fight.
He described Spence's style in straightforward terms, emphasizing a constant and relentless pace that never allows his opponents a chance to relax. According to him, Spence keeps applying pressure without slowing down, forcing the other fighter into an uncomfortable position where there is no safe middle ground. The choice becomes simple: adjust to the relentless tempo and survive, or allow the pressure to take complete control of the fight.
Honestly, I haven't seen anything, but I feel like Errol's is a monotone type guy. He's what he's good at is that constant pressure, constant punching, and it doesn't have to be flashy and quick and stuff like that. He knows when to throw the punch, and he keeps on going until you have to be until it's sink or swim type situation. So that's what he's good at.
He then turns the conversation toward what he hopes to achieve once the opening bell sounds, and for him the focus is less on physical technique than on mental strength. After spending years at the very top of the sport, collecting championship belts and earning widespread recognition, he wants to discover whether that same competitive fire still burns with the same intensity, or whether success, comfort, and time have slowly taken away that edge. If even a small amount of doubt begins to surface, Tszyu believes it could completely change the direction of the fight.
Well, not really. I'm preparing for the best. The biggest thing for me is to test his heart. How bad does he want it? You know, when you've been there, done that in the sport, it's sort of like, do I need to do this? Do I need to keep on going? You know, that's what I want to test when he starts talking to himself.
Do you think his heart, he can question? You will make him question himself in there.
Well, that's what I'm going for. If you take the heart away from him, then he's gone.
Regis Prograis offers a more balanced perspective when evaluating this matchup. If the version of Errol Spence Jr. that once dominated the welterweight division is the one that returns, the same ruthless fighter Prograis remembers, he doesn't believe the contest will be particularly close. In his opinion, that version of Spence wins the fight without facing too many problems. The uncertainty, however, lies in not knowing which version of Spence will actually appear after spending such a long period away from meaningful competition.
Able to walk through them, but we don't know. We don't know what Errol Spence we gonna get. That's the thing, you know. Like Errol Spence been off for a long time, and you know, and sometimes when you're rich, it makes you a little soft. You know, sometimes, you know, I don't know how it would make Errol Spence, but the old Errol Spence, man, was a killer, bro. I think a lot of people just forget, and I hate that about boxing. People forget how good Errol Spence really was. You know, like he was Errol was a dog at one point in time. He was really a real killer in the ring. You know, besides the stuff with Crawford. But man, if the old Errol comes back, I think that I got Errol Spence by landslide.
He then expands the discussion by pointing to what he believes is one of boxing's unavoidable realities. According to him, punching power is usually the final quality a fighter loses. It often remains long after other physical abilities have started to decline. Drawing from both his own experiences and what he has witnessed throughout the sport, Prograis explains that no amount of modern recovery can completely overcome the effects of aging once a fighter reaches his mid-30s. In his view, that is the one factor that could eventually become Errol Spence Jr.'s biggest obstacle.
I mean, the speed will leave you. Power always will be there. You know, power go be there forever. I saw I saw George Foreman hitting the bag before he did. Now, rest in peace, George Foreman, but I saw him hitting the bag, you know, probably right before he died, not too long. So the power will always be there with you. Now, the speed and reflexes, that's the things that do leave. You know, Errol is, he's 36, you know, he's right under me, you know, so that is old for a fighter. Now, people are taking care of their body a little better, but it's still old for a fighter. So like I said, we would have to see what happens. We would have to see where Errol shows up, because the reflexes, they do leave.
He also speaks about what he considers one of the most difficult parts of making a comeback: rediscovering the same obsession that once drove a fighter before achieving every major goal. He argues that returning simply for financial rewards can never recreate the hunger that originally fueled success. From his perspective, money alone is never the right motivation for stepping back into a sport that demands so much physically and mentally.
With me, I'm not gonna speak on everybody else, but like it's like, what makes you fall in love again, fall in love and be obsessed with that again if you did everything already. Like Tim Tszyu, they not fighting for belt, they not fighting for what do they fight for? Just a lot of money. If you do it for the money, that's always the wrong reason. When I was coming up, I never did it for the money. I mean, I know the money was gonna come, but I did it because I loved it. A lot of guys, they're hungry right now. A lot of good guys coming up, they're very hungry because they do it because of love. So with him, it depends if he still love it. I don't know. Like I said, we shall see with that.
Lonnie B views the situation with genuine concern rather than approaching it as a simple technical breakdown. He believes this fight represents an extremely difficult challenge, especially because it marks Spence's first appearance since the disappointing loss to Terrence Crawford. He admits that he has real reservations about what could happen, to the point where part of him would rather not see Spence return to face such a dangerous situation at all.
I think it's good. I think it's good for Spence. Tim Tszyu is a lot to bite off of a first fight back coming off his destruction of Terrence Crawford. I just think that's, if I had to pick, I would lean more towards Tim Tszyu. It seems like I don't know how Spence, I just don't know, you know what I'm saying? And the way he looked. I don't want to see Spence fight again. That's just me. And it's emotional for me because
That concern grows even stronger when he reflects on Spence's previous fight, where his ability to absorb clean punches appeared noticeably diminished. It leaves him fearing that history could repeat itself once again. He believes there's a real possibility that Tim Tszyu could hand Spence another defeat or even force an early stoppage. For him, the issue ultimately comes down to legacy. He would rather remember Spence at the peak of his greatness than watch him risk further punishment while chasing a version of himself that may no longer exist.
I'd rather Spence just go out with that right there and just remember him for being great in his time and just fighting a guy that was better than him. Like, I don't want to see him lose to Tim Tszyu or even get stopped by Tim Tszyu. You know what I mean? The Spence that we got.
Are you think that's what's gonna happen?
I'm going off his last fight and him getting hit, not taking shots well. I can see it happening. Not as detrimental as Crawford did it, but I can see maybe something like that happen.
After laying out that perspective, he delivers his prediction without hesitation. He believes Tim Tszyu will win the fight and will do so by stopping Spence before the 9th round. His confidence comes from what he believes this opportunity represents for Tszyu. It is a moment capable of changing the entire direction of his career, and he argues that opportunities of this magnitude often bring out the very best performances a fighter has to offer.
Like I said before, Tim's a dear friend of mine. I love him dearly, but I don't give predictions based on friendships. I give predictions based on my boxing brain. And I do believe Tim will beat Spence. I'm not saying it because he's a friend and I want him to do it. I believe that Tim Tszyu will beat Errol Spence. I believe that he'll stop him inside 9 rounds. I'm not taking nothing away from Errol, but I think Tim knows this is it. Career's on the line here.
He continues by explaining just how unforgiving this matchup will be for both competitors. In his opinion, a stoppage defeat for either fighter could realistically signal the end of that fighter's place among boxing's elite. Because the stakes are so high, he expects Tszyu to compete with the same patient, calculated style that has defined many of his victories. Rather than becoming reckless or emotional, he believes Tszyu will remain disciplined and composed while never forgetting that this is an opportunity he must finish in convincing fashion.
Look, a loss for either guy. We'll put it this way. A stoppage loss for either guy is career ending. I don't care how it is. So if one of the guys lose on points, and it's close, then there's a chance they can fight on. But if Errol or Tim happens to one of them gets stopped, it's career over. There's no way, I don't think, to rebuild them. Especially with all the superstars around at the moment, the Boots Ennis's.
He then outlines the game plan he wants to see from Tszyu as soon as the opening bell rings. He believes Tszyu should immediately remind Spence what it feels like to deal with genuine punching power after spending so much time away from real competition. To accomplish that, he emphasizes building attacks through deception, hiding his true intentions before delivering the punches that carry the greatest impact and create the most damage.
So, I don't think it's going to go in his mind. I think he's just, excited to have this opportunity, and no limits put him there. And now it's up to him to close the deal, and I believe he will. I believe he'll be on song, and I believe he'll have too much for Errol Spence. But I like him to start early. Really, remind Spence that you've been off for 3 years. This is what it's like being hit hard, and jump on him early, but do it intelligently. Obviously, I don't mean just go out there blazing.
As fight week approaches, many of boxing's most respected voices remain divided between admiration for Errol Spence Jr.'s accomplishments and genuine uncertainty about what 3 years away from the ring may have taken from him. Despite their different opinions, every analyst seems to agree on one thing: this fight will create major talking points the moment the action begins. Share your prediction in the comments, and if you're following every breakdown leading up to fight night, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss the latest coverage.